Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are decoding how a single, absolutely brilliant metaphor from a 19th century poem managed to perfectly capture an entire civilization's existential crisis. We're looking at Matthew Arnold's masterpiece, Dover Beach, which was published back in 1867. Specifically, we're going to focus entirely on the core image that anchors this whole thing, the Sea of Faith. It is a profound, honestly kind of chilling look at what happens when a society's foundational beliefs just suddenly evaporate. Listen to these famous lines. The sea of faith was once, too, at the full and round earth's shore, lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. This specific image is going to serve as the anchor for our entire deep dive today. Arnold isn't just talking about water here. He is talking about the collective religious and spiritual spirit of humanity, and how it once literally wrapped around the world, making everyone feel safe, purposeful, and protected. So, the crucial point we have to ask ourselves right off the bat is this. What happens when an entire civilization loses its spiritual anchor? Think about it. For centuries, traditional Christianity provided absolute, unquestioned answers about human destiny and the universe. But in the 1800s, those answers were suddenly and fiercely challenged. This question sets up the massive historical and psychological shift we are about to explore. It's a shift that Arnold captures so brilliantly. Part 1, the deceptive calm, a visual illusion. To really understand the depth of this crisis, we have to look at Arnold's masterful poetic trick. He seduces us with visual imagery. He sets up this perfectly tranquil, beautiful scene that is actually hiding a much darker reality beneath the surface. Notice the elements here: a calm sea, a full tide, a fair moon, glimmering cliffs. He paints this serene, incredibly romantic portrait of the English Channel. But this visual landscape is actually a total illusion. It represents the superficial stability, the massive material wealth, and the proud scientific progress of Victorian England. On the outside, everything looked great and successful, like a beautiful land of dreams, but it was really just a mask. Which brings us to part 2, the withdrawing roar, an auditory reality. Arnold's genius lies in the structural pivot. We go from that visual illusion, that calm, bright girdle of faith that Victorian society wanted to see, to an incredibly jarring auditory reality. Just when you are lulled into this visual piece, he tells us to listen, and suddenly we hear a grating, melancholy, withdrawing roar. He completely flips it from sight to sound. The deceptive visual beauty of modern progress is violently stripped away by the harsh auditory reality of a generation that is painfully, slowly losing its connection to God. That grating of the pebbles on the beach, that's the physical sound of human misery. So what is actually causing this massive withdrawal? Arnold refers to it as the cold night wind. This wind represents the historical and intellectual forces that were actively pushing the comforting, warm waters of faith away from the shores of human civilization. The Victorian Crisis of Faith didn't just happen overnight. In the 1830s, geologists like Charles Darwin proved the Earth was millions of years old, which completely shattered the literal biblical timeline of creation. Then came higher biblical criticism, which started treating the Bible as a historical, flawed human document rather than, divine magic. And then the ultimate knockout blow came in 1859 with Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, which reframed polite Victorian gentlemen, much to their absolute horror, by the way, as mere animals fighting for survival in a godless, indifferent nature. This timeline systematically eroded traditional religious certainty. It acted as that chilling night wind. Part 3, the Sea of Faith, the grand metaphor. Zooming out, Arnold uses the physical ocean to represent the collective religious spirit of humanity, stretching all the way back to the Middle Ages when belief was absolute and unquestioned. He brilliantly calls this faith a bright girdle. A girdle is a protective garment, like a tightly woven belt. Arnold is showing us how faith once kept human society unified, morally secure, and psychologically warm. It protected humanity from feeling small or meaningless in a vast, cold universe. It was basically a giant cosmic blanket. Part 4, the naked shingles, the reality of spiritual homelessness. But when that sea retreats, when it gets pulled back by the wind of science, the consequence is absolutely terrifying. We are left in a state of spiritual homelessness, on what Arnold calls the naked shingles. And here, the physical landscape perfectly mirrors the human tragedy. The sea is that fluid, retreating cosmic faith. The beach, those naked shingles, represents raw human vulnerability, society completely stripped of its divine protection. The night descending on the scene is the moral vacuum created by the absence of God. And the armies, which we'll touch on shortly, represent meaningless human conflict. The physical world around him becomes a profound philosophical diagnosis of modern alienation. Stripped of that faith, Arnold gives his readers a brutal reality check. Just consider what the new, secular, and industrialized world is actually missing. It has no true joy, no genuine love, no spiritual light, no certitude or absolute truth, no mental peace, and absolutely no help for human pain. Arnold is warning us that material wealth and thriving factories, they cannot comfort a broken heart or provide a moral compass. The modern world, for all its progress, is spiritually bankrupt.
Part 5. Love as a Refuge. The emotional climax.
Faced with this massive, overwhelming spiritual emptiness, what is the solution? Arnold does something truly incredible here. He shrinks the massive global cosmic crisis down to a single room and a desperate plea between two people. And in doing so, he completely redefines love. He isn't talking about a simple, cheerful romance here. Love is now an existential emergency fortress against cosmic loneliness. It is the absolute last remaining shield. If the universe is cold, mechanical, and indifferent, and divine fidelity is totally gone, then interpersonal human fidelity has to take its place. Love, let us be true to one another. The crucial point here is that when public institutions, religion, and cosmic safety nets completely collapse, private human loyalty becomes the ultimate survival tool. Two human beings have to build a miniature fortress of safety simply by being completely honest and faithful to each other. It's essentially an emergency escape pod from a terrifying new reality. Part 6, The Darkling Plain, an apocalyptic vision. And wow, do we need that escape pod, because outside that window, Arnold sees an apocalyptic final vision. We look out onto the Darkling Plain, a society that has entirely lost its moral compass because the sea of faith has dried up. He concludes with this incredibly chilling finale, where ignorant armies clash by night. Without a shared spiritual light, human civilization basically devolves into blind, chaotic, mutual self-destruction. The armies are ignorant because without faith, they literally don't even know what they are fighting for. Historians actually note that Arnold based this on the ancient Battle of Epipolae from Thucydides, where soldiers fought in the dark, panicked, and ended up slaughtering their own comrades. That is Arnold's ultimate warning. Scientific brilliance without moral light just creates better weapons for us to destroy ourselves in the dark. Which brings us to our final thought. The sea of faith might have retreated back in the 19th century, but that existential dread, that search for a refuge in a chaotic, fast-paced, and often completely indifferent world is just as relevant today as it was then. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. When the sea of faith retreats, when all the external structures of the world feel like nothing more than an illusion, what anchors you in the dark? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible explainer with me today.